Good day, emerging mothers. It's Dr. Michelle Lloyd. Listen, coming your direction to tell you, as you already know, that letting go is tough. It is absolutely tough. Having the ability to let go of our teens little by little, starting off, of course, when they reach high school, and it seems like it just happens more and more and more without our permission. It matters not if you are a JD, an MD, or a PhD. Listen, this is a universal theme across a number of cultures as it pertains to mothers, across a number of ages and across a number of professions. It is tough for a number of us. So that's what I want to talk about to you today. On day 3 of our Emerging Mothers Evolution Workshop. And listen, there are a number of you who have just joined us, and you're probably thinking, why in the world is she calling me an Emerging Mothers? I'm saying Emerging Mothers because guess what? Prior to your entering into our private Facebook group, listen, you probably had a certain level of thinking, and there may be some limitations around your thinking, but if you will scroll all the way down and begin listening to some of the videos that have been created, then you will be able to increase your learning, increase your ideas, increase your actions as it pertains to what can be done prior to your teen's transition out of the home. And so you're emerging in your thinking and your actions. And listen, I hope and wish and pray that for everyone who's in this private Facebook group. And listen, if you know of anyone who has a high school junior or senior, and maybe even sophomores as well, tell them about the group. We would love to help and pour into them as well. So back to our topic. You know, it's interesting because we're talking about letting go of our teens. For a number of you, the graduation date is quickly approaching, and it matters not if our teens, we're still paying their cell phone bill, we're still paying their medical insurance, we're still paying their dental insurance, we're still placing dollars into their account. Listen, still in letting go, we may still be doing those things, but we're feeling some type of stretch closer and closer as that date approaches. So I want to let you know, mothers, you are not alone. You're far from being alone. There are mothers all across this country, in addition to other countries, who are feeling this same pull. Now listen, in some countries, you know, the teens do not leave and go away at all. I've talked with a mother where she's just so excited that in their culture, the teens do not transition out of the home. But she feels for those like here in these United States where a lot of times our teens go off. And so, but for those of you who are feeling some certain kind of way, I want to make sure that I'm specifically talking to you. And those of you with juniors, of course, we know that next year you will be feeling that same pull as well. You know, I have been in contact with some university dean of students, and then also some professors as well. And it's so interesting how in the parent orientation, they are crystal clear about the message that they're sending out to parents. During the orientation, the dean of students are trying to circumvent the calls that they're receiving at their offices. You know, those calls such as, you know, what am I going to do about the fact that my student, my son or my daughter, have yet to talk to their roommate. They have yet to meet them. Or they may ask, you know, what if the food runs out in the cafeteria? What do you all do in that instance? You know what? Should it be us calling the university, or should it be our student calling the university? You know what? This is called something. This is called self-advocacy. And that's something that we want to impose on our students. And so parents, listen, I'm a parent. What I am encouraging us all to do is just take a couple of steps back and encourage our teen to make those types of phone calls. And guess what? We can even begin by practicing that right now. And I was on a call on yesterday, a Zoom call on yesterday, encouraging parents to please allow your students to make their own doctor's appointments and their own dentist appointments. Guess what? If they get into that practice right now, then of course it will be like they're doing it like the back of their hand. It'll be easy peasy for them because they've already done that. Now, on the college campus, if in fact there's something happening like, I don't know, some type of cultural conflict and there's a protest, or, COVID occurring, or some crime has taken place, then security or campus police, will be involved. And guess what? We'll be notified. I was notified when that was occurring on my daughter's campus. Those types of things I can see. We're all a part of the communication. I mean, they're doing an all-out blast, letting us know. I remember when my daughter was still in college last year, my second daughter, and if in fact there was a crime that took place, and it was not really near the college campus, but it was close enough to the students, then of course I received alerts on my phone, and I just did not have any worries at all that I would be notified if it pertains to something such as that. However, these other matters, they're matters that of course faculty will talk to our teens about, and so we can totally expect that. So listen, let's talk about some tips just so that you can go into the school year feeling a level of confidence regarding what you ought to do and that you probably should refrain from doing. Like tip number 1, let's overlook calling our teen like every 30 minutes. Just like repeated calls, just like, needing to just hover and helicopter, like this combo role. Helicopter and hover all at the same time. Let's refrain from that. You know what? Some psychologists even say, encourage your student to reduce the times they're calling us. Now, I'm uncertain if I can go with part B of that. As a matter of fact, I beg to differ and argue the fact, if you will, that telling my teen to reduce the times they call me, that's positive and that would be advantageous from a mental, a social, and an emotional perspective. So I would love my teen to call me all day long. Whenever they want to call me, I want them to call me. Now, regarding me, I will reduce the number of times I call them merely because I'm wanting them to become more and more interdependent, if you will. That interdependent stage, that occurs between dependent and independent. I'd like to be right there smack dab in the middle. Whereas my teen always knows that I'm available for her. I have 3 daughters, so my teens will always know that I'm available for them. Now, whether or not I'm able to pick up the phone at the time they call, they'll just leave a message or text me or what have you. But I'm unable to quite agree with them reducing the time and calling me, but I will, just so that they can begin to just spread their wings, and their wings, I can avoid them feeling as though their wings are clipped and that I have less confidence in them. That by no means would I want them to feel that. However, them calling me, I'm perfectly fine with that. I am A-okay with that. So just wanted to give you that that heads up. It's interesting because I would encourage, to the same point, is for, and I'm thinking about in 2016 when my daughter was transitioning out of the home, I would encourage you, mothers, to move and shift at your own pace. I mean, people's paces are different. I mean, I'm uncertain about the closeness of your family, just like you may be uncertain about the closeness of my family. So for me to say, just within the first month before they leave, or I'm unable to gauge that. So just be encouraged to wean at your own pace. I would encourage, I feel very, very comfortable encouraging that. I feel very, very comfortable encouraging that. And then also, under that same umbrella, make you and your teen, allow there to be some type of agreement as to whether or not you will connect a couple of times a week, whether you will connect once a week, on FaceTime or Zoom or Skype or Google Duo, a number of avenues so that you're able to place your eyes on your teen. Open that up for meaningful dialogue just so that you all are on the same page. Your teen, may be in a meeting, they may be at a club gathering, they may be involved in something on campus, and you want to make sure that there is that set time where you all are able to catch one another and again be able to have that meaningful dialogue. All right, tip number one. Okay, tip number two, and I alluded to this in a presentation on yesterday when I spoke with those illustrious ladies of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, to allow your teen to really embrace and solve their own problems. Now, when they bring a problem to you, and they will, hear their solutions first. This is how we give our students a voice. And the more and more, as they begin to use their voice and practice their problem-solving muscle, it's a muscle, if you will, whereas they automatically know how to go about solving problems. But yet it needs to be practiced over and over and over again. Although I avoid thinking that practice makes perfect, I do think that practice makes permanent. And so allow them to go through their strategies of the problem-solving skills that I've talked about before in this group. And it's on a video down below, so they can begin to go through these steps in solving their own problems and hear what they have to say first, please. And then if it seems as though they may have overlooked a solution that may be good for them to consider, after they've told you their solutions, just go ahead and just interject a solution that you think could be helpful. And then guess what? Allow them to make the final solution. Make the final decision. Allow them to do that. Because again, we want their confidence to just catapult through the roof. We want that to happen. So please practice those strategies that were discussed previously, so that guess what? They can know that you, number one, believe in them, that they can feel as though their confidence is being built. And then it will allow them to solve more of their problems, their issues. Because guess what? At some point, they will graduate from college. I'm just speaking that into existence. And then they will, land a position with an employer, or they will be entrepreneurs and start their own businesses. And then thereafter, they will have their own families, and they will have their own children. And guess what? They will already know how to solve a problem. Do we want this for our now teens as they gravitate towards adulthood? This is exactly what we want. And guess what? This is a good time to start now. This is a good time to start now, mothers. Also, tip number 3, I think this is, I just love talking to y'all. I just came at you all with my Texas. Now, you all know that originally I'm from St. Louis. I just brought some Texas to you all. I said I just love talking about y'all, but I've been here for about 20, 30 years, so it's just habit. So listen, let's do this. Tip number 3, let's remain calm, let's believe the best, and let's think positive if in fact those extra seconds passed prior to them calling us back after we have called them. Listen, I have a confession, because I'm just going to keep it 100 with you all. Just open and transparent. As I'm coaching you all, I didn't have a coach. As I'm coaching you all, It would have been really, really good had I had a coach. And as a matter of fact, I was in the process of writing my dissertation at the time and being a mom. Writing my dissertation, being a mom, being a wife, being a daughter, being an aunt, being a sibling, all of that. And so in the midst of all of those roles and the responsibility of sometimes being in a doctoral program, which I'm uncertain if I've ever done anything more challenging in my life. There's some tough things that I've done, that I've jumped off of the cliff and actually taken healthy risks, which I encourage my daughters to do. And one of them, of course, was this doctoral program that practically took, that just, I'm unable to even describe it. So in the middle of all of that, all of what was going on, staying up 2-3 days at a time, forgetting to eat, and just, diving and trying to complete this program while raising 3 daughters. And many people said, "Ooh, I would just discontinue that program." I'm uncertain what you're thinking. I mean, I just heard everything. I had some other people who, I was good friends with, two other women. We were in the program. One of them divorced. Just a lot going on. At one particular time, my oldest daughter, I called her. Ring! And maybe like 30 minutes went past, and I had yet to receive a phone call back. And then an hour went past, and I just really needed to chat with her. I'm uncertain even what I needed to chat with her about. And so, mothers, listen, just drop down in the chat if this, you can kind of see yourself in this. And then 2 hours go past, and then 2.5, and so, and then our thoughts begin to run away with us. And then we ruminate and just think all types of things as it pertains to our teens. And we're thinking, this is unlike him or her. I still have not heard back. What in the world is going on? I'm uncertain what in the world is going on. And so when 3 hours passed, of course, I don't know how it happened. I have no idea how it happened. That my fingers, it was my fingers, just dialed the campus security. My fingers did that. I'm blaming it all on my fingers. Dialed the campus security, and of course, I had to ask them to go over and check my daughter's room to see, was everything okay? And everything was okay. She was an RA at the time, and she was out doing rounds. And so, because I had yet to receive a call back, I just for my own peace of mind, I just wanted to just double check. I would encourage us to please give it more time than I gave it. And remain calm, believe the best, and think positive. If we are unable to receive an immediate call back, because you know what, that can be, disturbing to our teen. It could be, given the situation, it could be embarrassing to our teen. After all, guess what? They are on a college campus. They could have stayed up late studying the night before. They could be taking a nap in the middle of the day. They could be in class. They could be fulfilling their leadership role within the club they have purposely joined, just so that they are not isolated from the campus or the world. They could be in the gym working out. Listen, there are a plethora of things that our teen could be doing. So, unlike myself, give it some time. You know what? I'm so glad that you all are my parent posse. You all help me to be able to just be open and communicate with candor with each and every one of you all. And I appreciate that. And listen, I'm that for you all as well. So I know that some of you all DM me, and I get back to you as quickly as I possibly can. We're here for each other. But listen, I would encourage you, unlike me, just give it a little time. Because guess what? They could be occupied doing what they need to do while we're maybe allowing our thoughts to ruminate and to catapult, take it. Our thoughts, if we're honest, our thoughts can take just a hard left sometimes. When in essence, all we need to do is like go down on our knees in prayer and say, God, give me peace about, what she may be doing and whereas she has yet to call back. So I know that you all will, and I am wanting you all to remain encouraged in that area. Okay, so our very, very next tip. So I am going to ask each and every one of you all that when your teen is on the college campus, I want us to really try our best in this area. That when they tell us something, when they are sharing a thought or a story or a situation or a circumstance, and let's really, really lean on the side of listening without lecturing. Now, I'm the first to say that can be a toughie, because we have raised these babies from the very beginning. Just drop down in the chat. Just let me know if that's a toughie for you. Just go ahead and drop down in the chat. Toughie. Toughy. Toughie. Because guess what? We've raised them from the very beginning. And we have lectured in order to get them to this point. And we've wanted them to hear us, and we've wanted them to embrace what we're saying, and just to solidify in their imagery that they're making good decisions and they're maturing, so that other people will want to be around them, and so that they can, of course, enhance their soft skills, and they can, of course, interact and have dialogue with adults, and all of this. However, let's just realize and make a promise to ourselves that we are going to do our level best, that whatever they tell us, and listen, I'm trying to help you. And as I'm helping you, I'm helping me to listen without lecturing. And after you've done that for all these years, guess what? That can be tough to discontinue that. I hear you loud and clear. I feel you. I just discern that you're probably thinking, oh my goodness, you're asking me to just stop that cold turkey. Listen, let's begin to do that less and less. Let's just begin to do it less and less until it becomes a little more natural for us, because guess what? They're gravitating into young adulthood. And if we continue to do the things we did when they were younger, guess what? We can be lecturing all by ourselves. Because our teens will have tasted freedom, and they're changing, their minds are maturing, do you honestly think that they're going to be open to hearing the types of things that we, and the way we were saying it back years ago? Things are going to be different. Just remember that I'm sharing this with you. We'll need to really to begin to filter our verbiage during communication. We will. And so just know that, of course, that listening more and lecturing less will be our friend. That advice will be our friend. Next tip. I don't even know what tip I'm on. I'm just sharing tips that I know will help you. Also, when our teen is asking for advice from us, of course we want to give it to them. If we are uncertain about the advice, because they're on the campus as opposed to us, ask them, please, especially if we're uncertain what the answer is. And this is specifically if we have no idea what the answer is. If they come to us for advice and they're asking, us for, I would encourage us first to say, what are your thoughts? Oh, that's an interesting situation that happened. What are your thoughts? Let's allow them to share their thoughts. And then after they've shared their thoughts, then let's feel free to share our thoughts. On the flip side of that, if we're uncertain what the answer is, then let's encourage them to reach out regarding their campus resources. After all, this is where their dollars are going, to cover those resources. So let's ask them, have you interacted with your academic advisor regarding that question? Or have you visited the student tutoring center? My oldest daughter, she worked at the writing center. Have you asked someone at the writing center to edit that paper, or to give some helpful feedback so you can edit it? Or have you asked them to peruse those paragraphs, and maybe some things can be shifted around just a bit to sound just a little bit more relatable to the question that's being asked? So, as opposed to us jingling up these different departments, let's allow them to go and explore and identify how and where, of course, by us just offering the tutoring service, the writing center. Let's allow them to explore with the individuals within those different centers and buildings the responses or the answers to their questions. Let's allow them to do some research. Guess what? When they're adults, they will already be accustomed to it. I want my daughters to be so sufficient, in addition to them relying and trusting and believing God and leaning on Him and avoid worrying. I want them to be able to reach out and research their resources so that they're able to get the necessary answers to their questions. Oh, this is the next one, and we're almost finished. I'm super excited. Oh my goodness, almost 30 minutes have passed already. Listen, and I'm trying to help you all. I'm trying to help you all mothers. Let's strategize the struggle. I'll just word it as such. When our students are on the college campus and they make a mistake, guess what? It's okay. It's okay. Frame it within your mindset as a learning opportunity. And you know what? This is a good time to do this right now. This is a good time to do this. I know that they're probably coming out of high school at the top of their class. Mine did too. My daughter graduated in the top 5 or 6% of her class, of a lot, over 500 students. She graduated in the top 5 or 6%. And then she went off to Virginia Tech. And in systems engineering, they're like second in the nation. At one point they were first, and then they were third. I think they're second in the nation. So you can probably imagine, there's all type of research and all type of inventions and all type of professors who are writing books and inventing like tools and products out of Blacksburg, Virginia. You can probably imagine the struggle that was endured for someone who was accustomed to being at the top of their class. Graduated magna cum laude. And then my second daughter, who played basketball, initially in public school, then we went over to private school after my oldest daughter went off to college, and she played her last 2 years at a private school. And as she went to the private school, and it was tough. It was tough. That the learning difference between public and private is so tough. I mean, my daughter was up to sometimes 2, 3 in the morning, and she was up on Saturday mornings at 6 a.m. I'm just trying to just master the concepts in the classrooms that were taught by, you know, Dr. him and Dr. her, and just it was like on a whole just higher level. And her teachers were calling her on Saturday mornings. That's what blew me. And she, after she was just so determined that, by golly, I am going to master, I'm going to elevate my thinking to that next level. And then she, in 2 years, she mastered, and then she graduated magna cum laude. And then her going off to college. And it was a little easier for her because she graduated with, you know. So enough about my daughters. When your daughter or your son lands on the college campus and they make mistakes, which they will, because guess what? This is learning at a higher level. Again, please frame it as a learning opportunity. It's okay if they get a B on a test. It is so not the end of the world. Because some teens may be accustomed to being at the top, and now they are no longer at the top. Guess what? New levels. When you go up a hill and you're at the top of this pinnacle, you're at the very top. I mean, in order to be at the top of a brand new level, you've got to come down. More than likely, you are coming down because you're starting anew to climb back up the next hill to reach the top of the next level. And then when something newer happens in life, guess what? And you're unfamiliar with that whole category. You're unaware what this whole thing entails. Then you got to come back down. And then you go back up. I mean, like, when you are discovering this new mountain, being able to go from the peak of one mountain to the next mountain to the next mountain. So listen, let them know it is okay, because they're back down. They have yet to be on a college campus before. This is all new for them. I mean, my second daughter's last semester, she was working, held leadership positions in about 3 clubs, her sorority rather, and then also a club, and then the NAACP. She held leadership. She was struck captain of this. She was the treasurer of this. I mean, she held leadership positions in 3 organizations. She was taking 19 hours and she was working. Because she wanted to wrap up quickly so she could make sure she sat for her MCAT, which she takes next month. And so all of these things, I mean, it's okay. And so what I did is I helped to normalize that struggle. Life is a struggle. So if she can handle this, guess what? It's preparing her for what's over there. So let's begin to incorporate this, please, in our parenting. Let's just move to the next level of that's what I mean by strategizing the struggle. You know, allow them to put some strategies around it themselves, because they'll know their schedule better than we ever will. And then once you hear it, they share it with you, then you can begin to just kind of, just drop a few nuggets here and there that maybe they have yet to think of. Last but not least, I see right now, I could just talk to you all night. I could talk to you all just the rest of the evening, but I will let you all go from me. To my last point of this struggle, we know in order for them to stay healthy from a mental and emotional perspective, and also from a spiritual, psychological, just social perspective as well. Because stress, I'm uncertain to ever talk to a teen, and I've done some. I have to post a picture in the group regarding me talking to teens. Maybe 150 teens were out in the audience, and I was speaking to them because I want them to know kind of what what parents are thinking, just so that they can align their perspective with what we feel, what we think. And they were leaned in. I so appreciated them. Gave out prizes, and it was such a fun time with teens, high school teens. But along with the struggle on the college campus, as mothers, let's encourage wellness resources and wellness ideas as it pertains to wellness. Let's encourage a daily routine right now before they leave of, good eating. I mean, nourishing eating, not just anything. Listen, we sat down as a family together. I knew time was limited with my daughters. We sat down as a family. That brought us, that really created that cohesiveness over the years. I'm just reflecting right now. Let's promote good eating. Let's promote good, healthy sleeping and activities as a family. Because this will help them if they experience any type of stress or anxiety. Remembering to remain hydrated. How about a little bit of exercise? I remember when my daughter first went off, and she was a freshman, and she said, "Mom, listen, let's still try to exercise together." And so guess what? She said, "I'm going to be up at the gym. The fitness center is right next door to my dorm. I'm going to be up before class starts at 6 a.m. I'm going to run like we used to." And that's what I did. I ran with my 3 daughters. I'm going to do that. And let's, is that something that you're open to doing? And we're on FaceTime together. And I said, sure. So guess what? We were up 6 a.m. running, exercising. Even though she was on a college campus, 14 driving hours away, we still did that. And I just loved that. I loved it. It was awesome. It's awesome. And then also, guess what? Let's continue to encourage and admire our teens' just bravery and their endurance. And continue to tell them that we believe in them, and that we know that in the next 4 years, we cannot wait to just blow them up on social media, throw a party for them. We rented an Airbnb, and we ordered T-shirts and that were like the family did, and we invited her friends, and it was just a blast, an absolute blast. And so just expect and know and look forward to, of course, just what they are becoming as people. Be sure, please, just a couple of ideas before I let you all go from me. Sign up for the university's Facebook group for parents. Typically, a parent has already started the Facebook group, and all you have to do is find it could be, I just did Mizzou parent Facebook group, Mizzou parents, or Virginia Tech parents. That's all I did, and I was immediately included. I just went ahead and asked to join, and I was in, and I was able to just hear and read comments and all of them. And then again, please, feel free to just send some care packages. Do we forget to do that sometimes? Absolutely. I know I did from time to time. It so goes a long way. It so goes a long way. If you're able to remember that, or set yourself a reminder, just so that they'll know that you're thinking about them. Listen, this is day 3 of our Emerging Mothers Evolution workshop. I appreciate you all joining each day. For any additional answers to questions, you know that you all can DM me. I have a 6-month and a year-long program that prepares mothers for their teens transition, whereas you'll receive one-on-one coaching from me. You will receive a transition success plan developed by our program developer, of course, after we've gathered data about your situation and we put together a personalized transition plan just for you. There's a workbook that has already been created that you will have access to as well. You will have access to a mindset coach, and then speakers will connect with you and you will hear what they have to say, all the way from university presidents to, of course, students of deans. They will be giving you insight, whereas you can ask all the questions that you have. So listen, if you'd like to be a part of this program, the next cohort, of course, starts mid-May. I can share with you that exact date because it's already unfolding in reference to who will be in that cohort. Listen, I appreciate y'all. I love you so very much. Remain positive. Of course, have a great weekend, and I will see you next Thursday, same time, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. I'm Dr. Michelle Lloyd, Transition Success Coach here in Sugar Land, Texas. I appreciate you, and again, stay safe. Bye.